Welcome to episode 69 of the Princeton Podcast, sponsored by the Municipality of Princeton, encouraging civic participation and amplifying the voices that shape our community. In this episode, Mayor Mark Freda is joined by Deanna Stockton. Deanna is the Deputy Administrator of Infrastructure and Operations. She also serves as the Municipal Engineer. Deanna explains her dual role in the municipality. She manages over 75 employees and oversees critical infrastructure. She and Mark discuss the benefits of Princeton's in-house engineering model. This approach builds deep institutional knowledge. It also ensures staff are available to resolve resident concerns directly, rather than relying on outside consultants. Deanna also details the town's Vision Zero commitment. This initiative aims to eliminate traffic fatalities. She highlights safety improvements on Witherspoon Street. She also discusses the new pilot bike lanes on Harrison Street. Finally, Deanna provides updates on the Muni, the town's newly expanded bus service. She also shares goals for 2026. These include planning for the Westminster Choir College property and a new public works facility. So without any further introduction, let's join our host, Mark Freda, and his guest, Deanna Stockton, for episode 69 of the Princeton Podcast.
Deanna, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, this should be fun. So let me ask you a first question. So I know your title includes Deputy Administrator. So, and you're also the Municipal Engineer. So what does that actually mean, Deputy Administrator?
Mm-hmm. So the Municipality of Princeton has two Deputy Administrators. Jeff Grosser, my colleague, is Deputy Administrator of Health and Human Community Services, and I oversee the Infrastructure and Operations Group. For infrastructure, we have municipal sanitary sewers, stormwater management systems, roads, buildings and grounds, traffic signals, parking lots, a garage, open space, and the urban forests. I rely heavily on our key staff within the department, which includes a fleet manager, sewer manager, public works director, arborist, open space manager, and especially the assistant municipal engineer, Jim Purcell, to ensure that we're maintaining and improving our infrastructure in a cost-effective and sustainable manner. A majority of our annual capital budget approved by council is directed towards our group. So I'm responsible for ensuring that we move from conceptual planning through design, contracting, construction, and then operation. Another additional important role for the Deputy Administrator is to maintain open channels of communication and collaboration with elected officials, the public, outside agencies, and government entities. We have state highways, we have county roads, we have a very large property owner in the university within our border. So it's really critical to collaborate and communicate with these groups regularly as well.
So there's not much going on in your department?
No, not at all. We're pretty quiet.
So easy. So, focusing on engineering some. Obviously, our town has you as the municipal engineer, but not every town has a municipal engineer. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between those two models?
Sure. So generally, the more infrastructure you have, the more population and the greater the municipal services that the government provides to their residents, the more likely it is that you will have an in-house engineer. The alternative that some of the smaller rural municipalities have is to completely contract out for engineering services. And then there's a middle ground where you may have an in-house engineer, but then everything else is performed by a consulting engineer. So any design, contract reviews, that type of thing. So for Princeton, we've invested in a really robust in-house engineering department with multiple licensed engineers, construction engineering inspector, and design staff. Many of our staff have been here for multiple decades, and that really gives a solid community knowledge base. We don't have to be accountable for having billable hours like a consultant would be. So it's expected that we are available for our residents to resolve any quality of life issues, to just generally be a resource for them. We don't walk away at 5 p.m. or when we've hit, the number of hours for the week.
Running up against the budget.
Right. Long before cell phones were kind of the norm for contact, we were giving out our cell phone number to residents so that they could rely on us to be responsive. It's very important in our model to build trust with the community and to represent their needs when we propose improvements to infrastructure and services. In other towns that just use the consultant model, the consultant may change when the governing body changes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I mean, that, again, just to reinforce, it really is a benefit to the residents to have us. We still utilize consultants because we can't be the subject matter experts in everything. But as much as possible, we do try to be that point person for the residents so they know they can get the service that they expect.
Yeah. And I must admit, it's an excellent department. You guys do an awful lot, and it's amazing the workload that is handled by our folks. Okay, so let's talk about pedestrian safety. The town's doing a whole bunch of projects around pedestrian safety. Can you talk about some of those or explain, what it is we're trying to achieve?
Sure. So a couple years ago, the community went through the master plan process, and part of the mobility element was to prioritize walking as the most favored mode of transportation. And to add on to that, the council's made it a goal to recognize that death and serious injury are unacceptable. And so we want to get to a Vision Zero commitment on our roadways. To do that, we take a safe system approach. We look at whether a project is underway to construct a new sidewalk or shared use paths or to completely rebuild a road. We strive to make those roads safe for all users. We do this by making changes that might encourage safer behavior by everyone. That might be traffic calming. That may be slowing motor vehicles, separating bikes from pedestrians and motor vehicles. It could also look at implementing lighting changes, street lighting changes, crosswalk illumination and striping. And so we've done a lot of this recently. The projects that stand out are Witherspoon Street. We have also improved a side path on Cherry Hill Road. And as much as possible, we are very focused on this. Monthly, we meet with a traffic safety committee. So we have representatives for police at that meeting as well as governing body officials so that we can look at what might be coming through trends about safety and we can try to address them as quickly as possible.
There's a lot behind all these things, right? I mean, it's just amazing. It's not just let me show up and do stuff. Okay, so in a similar vein, we're also doing stuff around biking safety, right, for bicyclists. Mm-hmm. So somewhat similar, but I don't know if you want to maybe point out a couple things we're doing there.
Yeah, so Princeton being the historic town that it is, it can be challenging to try to accommodate bicycle facilities. And there's often some decision points that need to be made of, do we remove parking? Can we accommodate bicyclists on a shared use path? I mentioned Witherspoon Street with the pedestrian improvements, but that also had significant bicycle infrastructure improvements where we calmed traffic and we made it a safer space so that bikes could share the roadway with vehicles. In other areas around town, like Valley Road and Hodge Road, we were successful in prohibiting parking to be able to put on-road bike lanes. Currently, we have a pilot bike lane project on Harrison Street, North Harrison Street by the shopping center, where we've taken the right lanes on the roadway and converted them to buffered bike lanes. So project by project, where we can, we are implementing the bike master plan and trying to make connections to bike boulevards and shared use roadways around town.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge because obviously the town was built for, originally horses and carriages and things like that, but for many decades built around cars. So trying to squeeze in how we make it much safer and more convenient for people walking and bicyclists is a challenge. So thank you. Let me change gears here. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I'm actually a fourth generation Californian. I grew up in Southern California, high desert, in a town called Lancaster. And for college, I moved up to the Bay Area to Santa Clara University.
Okay.
Met my future husband there, worked at some different places like Washington State DOT and a consulting firm in Oregon before we came out to New Jersey.
Wow, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You just mentioned like your education and some of what you did. So what sort of education and experience does one need to become a municipal engineer?
So an engineering degree, obviously, is a key component with a license.
Yep.
So there is a professional licensure process. New Jersey has also added in a certification for municipal engineers. So that's a really great program that's available to engineers. But a lot of it comes down to some of those soft skills. I think the engineering, the technical engineering that you need for a municipal engineer, you can get pretty easily. But it's those soft skills of being able to, I think I heard this at the council reorg meeting, actively listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I think you said it
did,
even.
yes.
Hey, I was actively listening. To actively listen and just understand somebody's perspective and to be able to do everything, within limits to help resolve issues.
Yeah.
We can't solve everything, but as much as we can be open to new ideas, open to different viewpoints, cooperating, we work closely with so many different groups. So just finding cooperative solutions and adapting. We also like to stay very active in professional organizations, whether it be something related with the state DOT or federal highway or just local engineering societies. So
Yeah, that's great, right? Okay, so I think you and I have both mentioned how long people have stay and work for the town.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here?
So I actually started in 2000. My husband's company was relocating us from Oregon. And we thought, we can live anywhere for a few years. So why not? Let's try New Jersey. So we came. I cold called the former township engineer, Bob Kaiser, and he's like, we don't have a position, but we'll talk. I was fortunate that he saw the value of my skills and brought me on. So I worked with him for 2 years. Then we got another opportunity to move to the Netherlands for 3 years. And when I came back, Bob Kaiser, came through again and was able to bring me back. So I have pretty much been with the municipality now since 2006 when I returned.
Right.
And it's been a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think like the whole institutional memory and just being involved in so much over such a good length of time is just so beneficial to how everything operates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more we have staff that are retiring, so there's fewer and fewer of us that have the institutional knowledge.
So another thing your world is involved in is transportation around town. Can you talk to us a little bit about, I know we've got municipal buses, we've got bus routes.
Yes. So Princeton does have different means of public transit. We've got obviously the Dinky. New Jersey Transit has some routes in town. But back in 2008, the former borough mayor, Marvin Reed, envisioned the freebie, fixed route bus system. And the university was a great supporter of it. So that's something since 2008, the municipality, consolidated municipality has carried through. It is now called the Muni until we rebrand it later this year. We have one fixed route that operates 6 days a week, and one of the fixed routes connects various shopping areas to the downtown and to the Princeton Shopping Center. It's funded by parking revenues and contributions from the university. With all of the third round affordable housing agreements, we were able to secure some financial contributions that as well as the university's voluntary contribution to add a second route. We are using it as a pilot for this year to see how successful it is, but it's, again, like a 6-day-a-week bus fixed route between the Dinky and Princeton shopping center. So we look forward to starting to gather data on its success so that hopefully we can make it the second route of our fleet permanently.
Right. And people can find detail, the routes and everything on our
Correct.
princetonnj.gov website.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. And another fun topic that everybody loves to talk about is sanitary and stormwater sewer systems. But, these have a big impact on so many different things. They cost a lot of money. So anyway, I don't want to say too much, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about that world.
Yeah, sanitary sewers are super important to make sure that waste is going away and not causing issues. So with council support, significant resources are being expended towards the sanitary sewer system to make it more resilient and cost effective. We're working on the design to replace 6 of 9 pump stations right now. A majority of those are in floodplains, so we're looking at making those more resilient. The collection system is also in various design projects and construction right now to make it more watertight. We're using an innovative technique called chemical grouting so that we can address more sanitary sewer than we would with the traditional methods of lining or dig and replace. So it's really interesting that up to 60% of the flow in our sanitary sewers are attributed to rainwater or groundwater. So this is critical work that we're doing.
Right. And it's critical because, I just want to jump in and make sure people understand that having rainwater and groundwater go through the sanitary system, we're paying fees to Stony Brook Regional Sewage Authority for the volume of materials,
correct,
liquid, and whatever's in that liquid that goes through their plant. So having all that excess rainwater and groundwater is costing our taxpayers a significant amount of money.
Right.
So all the money that your world is overseeing to correct all that has a great significant payback for us and is a huge benefit to the taxpayer.
Definitely. And we're not the only contributor to the Stony Brook Regional Sewage Authority. There are other municipalities. And so it's imperative that all of our municipalities in the region are doing this type of work.
Yeah.
Because then we can forestall an expansion.
Yes.
And a huge capital
more cost
to upgrade the treatment plant.
Yep.
So relative to stormwater, we also have quite a few projects in the design phase on Herrontown Road, Grover, and Stony Brook Lane. We need to do some armoring of the Stony Brook along Quaker Road between Mercer and 206. But a big part of our time really is spent just staying in compliance with our discharge permit. So we've got people pretty much every day out doing street sweeping. We have to inspect the storm drains and the stormwater facilities. We need to ensure that our staff and our board members, the land use board members, are going through the necessary training, doing public outreach, working with homeowners association who have private stormwater facilities. So, and another big piece of that permit for this year is a watershed improvement plan. So we completed the first phase last year. This year will be in the second phase, and that will involve some formal public meetings.
So one thing I just want to jump on that you mentioned about the storm drains. So everybody out there should remember that you can adopt a storm drain. So you can go to our website again, princetonnj.gov, and there's a whole process to adopt a drain. You get to name it. We give you some fun stuff to help you keep it clean. But there's so many storm drains. We need the help with the public. So anyway.
Over 3,000, I think.
That's amazing.
And only 5 to 10% of those have been adopted. So
all right, so there's plenty of them
sign
out there. Up. All right, let me jump to Verizon.
Yes.
So, a couple years ago, We had some very animated mayor and council meetings where people were clamoring for improvements to the Verizon cell service throughout town. And your world has worked with Verizon extensively.
Correct.
And some of their subcontractors that help put up their facilities. But maybe you could just talk a little bit about the progress that's been made and what's being done to make all that stuff happen.
Sure. Since that meeting back in May of 2023 that you referenced, that special council meeting, there's been nearly 50 new or updated small cell antennas brought online by Verizon. Most of them are in collaboration with a third-party vendor called Crown Castle. Many of these also include T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint. So the work isn't done yet. There's another dozen installations that have been approved and 24 more that are in the process. So we are looking forward to really increasing the service. The police department has been a great partner in this as well because they have the ability to collect the cell signal strength around town, and we can use it to fact check the Verizons and the other companies on how well their service is penetrating our community.
Yeah. I just want to emphasize to everybody listening out there that what an effort has been made to work with Verizon and Crown Castle and the other, but mainly Verizon was the main problem, to improve that cell service throughout the town. I mean, it's a huge project, and
it is.
A lot of time and effort has been spent by your world to make sure that this actually happens.
Right, and we're not the only entity that's looking at it, right? They have to work with FCC. Sometimes historic preservation has to get involved on the state, local, national levels. And if it's not on our roadways, it's DOT, potentially.
Yeah, so a lot goes into it. So thank you to everybody in your world that's been involved with moving that along. Let me take a jump here again, and let me ask you, I think this is one I get a lot. People call me about, when are you going to pave my road? So can you talk a little bit about, what is our process to how do we decide a road's going to get paved or not paved?
Sure. So in 2023, we went and completed a complete roadway condition analysis of our roadways. That process has given us information on the structure of our pavement systems. It does not necessarily reflect the rideability. I'm sure we all know those roadways we drive where the potholes have been filled upon filling. So we look at the roadway condition analysis. It provides us at least a base of what type of work we should consider doing and within timeframes. It designates if a road is fair, poor, great condition. So we use that. We look at what work other utilities have to do in town, whether it's PSE&G, the water company, communications. Will they be digging up our roads for some reason to put in, or our own sanitary sewer and storm sewer for infrastructure? We look at if there's adjacent development activity going on. Should we be making some improvements to accommodate a large development? We look at the see-click-fix concerns that are put in. That is a valuable tool to collate all of the concerns that people raise about the conditions of our roadways. And we put all of this together. We look at road volumes. A cul-de-sac road is not going to probably have as much attention as a Mercer Street or a Harrison Street.
Yeah.
We put that all together. We look at bike and pedestrian infrastructure that can be created or improved at the same time. And using the various knowledge base that we have in public works and in engineering, we come up with that list. It sometimes will alter based on the availability of funds. It often varies because of the availability of funds. There's a lot of competing interest for our capital dollars. But we're also looking at trying to find ways where we can do it quicker, cheaper, better in-house. We have very skilled public works people, and we are now getting equipment that we can do our own paving as well. So we're looking at that as a component of how we do our road paving.
Yeah. And I think, in our discussions that you and others in your department have had with the governing body is, you've pointed out that having done that research and knowing the road conditions, it gives us a much higher degree of success in using our money to get the best value out of it. So if you can catch a road and it only needs the top pavement redone before what's under it needs to be dug up and totally replaced, we're saving a lot of money. So you've put a much more scientific and data-based decision process in place than just, the road's a little rough. So
yeah, and that's a great point to make. When you catch it early, we can use more sustainable methods.
Yeah.
We don't have to mill up the pavement that's in place and dispose of it. We are able to put epoxy treatments or different methods that keep the pavement in place and just secure it for another 6 years.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing all that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've had you here for a while, so let me ask you this one. It's a new year. It's 2026. Any hope for goals or projects that you want to tell us about?
Sure. Well, we've been working, as you should know, on Westminster Choir College. That was a unique event last year that the municipality was able to purchase that property and be able then to guide what happens to it. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the site planning, to see, where we go with that. My department has been responsible for managing the operations. We still have tenants there.
Yep.
So just looking forward to what the next phases are. The other big one is we have in progress a new public works facility planning process. So when I started with the municipality in 2000, it was discussed that these guys do a lot for the town and they really need some better facilities than the single wide trailers and the triple wide trailers that are falling apart. Yeah. So I'm really excited that we have council support and we're moving ahead with putting together a permanent facility there. Yeah. And lastly, it's the 250th anniversary of the nation, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot going on in town. So, we're poised and ready to do what we need to put our best face forward, whether it's new plantings and furniture in the downtown or keeping our roads safe and clean.
Yeah. So I want to thank you personally, but I want to thank your whole world for all you do every day, that everybody does every day for the town. Because, it is amazing the volume of work that comes through your world. It's quite a bit.
It really is. And we are often not seen.
Yes.
But yet we are contributing to everybody's quality of life in town. So we appreciate the support we get.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for being here. We appreciate all the information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the 69th episode of the Princeton Podcast, produced by the podcast production team at HG Media. If you enjoyed this episode of the Princeton Podcast, please share it with your friends. Visit our website at princetonpodcast.com and be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts.